Hi, it's me again. In the last video, we talked about the opportunities the good Illinois has created for us and all the ways the bad Illinois has held us back. This video, spoiler alert, will be a little bit of a bummer because we'll focus on what's created the bad Illinois and what we can do to fix it. In Illinois today, we're juggling a lot of challenges. We're debt-ridden with the biggest pension shortfall. We have one of the most unfair tax systems in the country, and we have the #1 education funding gap. These make us outliers compared to almost every other state. Yes, we're playing with fire. It's a dangerous situation, and any serious effort to fix Illinois needs to start by tackling these outliers. Pensions. Our systems are around 40% funded, leaving a hole of over $110 billion. We have to put out this fire, but in a way that's realistic, achievable, and fair. The problem was decades in the making, and it won't go away overnight. 3 keys to ending this pension insanity: enact a real funding guarantee, create an optional buyout program, and consolidate an inefficient system. This would put us on the road to fiscal balance and ensure workers can retire with dignity and security. One of the reasons the debt accrued over generations is because our state has been exceptionally bad at making necessary payments into the funds. That means workers have made their payments while the government has not. So let's enact a real funding guarantee. It already works for one Illinois pension system, the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, and it works in Texas because it's in their constitution. If we replicated them, workers would know that they weren't being cheated, and in less than a generation, our pension debt would be gone. It's unconstitutional to cut workers' benefits. We should do away once and for all with the idea of making involuntary changes. On the other hand, an optional buyout program would be constitutional, and if it were structured properly, it could be a win-win for workers and the state. Finally, here is a stunning fact. Illinois has more than 600 individual pension funds. That's a sixth of the systems in the entire country. It makes us a complete outlier, and it results in inefficiency, problematic investment constraints, and the risk of corruption. We have to do better. So that's pensions. The second major outlier is tax fairness. We need to fix our tax code, which is one of the least fair in the country. Let's start by getting rid of a provision we have in our Constitution that says that we have to have a flat income tax. Most states have tax codes that allow you to pay a lower rate if you make less money and asks people who make more money to pay a little bit more. Our Constitution doesn't allow that. Some people like to suggest that fixing that is some kind of extreme idea. In fact, it turns out that the way things are now is extreme. For example, we're one of only 4 states with a constitutional provision like this. Or let's consider the federal government. Not only does every single Democrat in Washington support a fair income tax that allows people who make less to pay a lower rate, but so do Jeb Bush, Chris Christie, John Kasich, Marco Rubio, and Donald Trump. On the other hand, I will say, Ted Cruz doesn't. So that's our choice. We can change the Constitution so that we're allowed to have a fair tax, like almost every other state, joining every Democrat and most Republicans in federal office, or stick with a tiny minority on the right-wing fringe who think the richest and poorest people in Illinois should have to pay the exact same tax rate. But our tax problems don't end with this one foolish constitutional provision. By many measures, we have the second highest property taxes in the country. This tax is often only loosely correlated with ability to pay, and it hits middle-class families and people on fixed incomes especially hard. It's a terrible way to fund government. So why are property taxes so high? One reason is our insane thicket of specialized local governments. This is actually another outlier, and one we'll talk about more in the next video. For now, suffice it to say that all that government drives up the costs to taxpayers by adding administrative duplication and inefficiency. But there's another reason we have high property taxes, and that goes back to something I mentioned earlier. Illinois is at the very bottom of the heap when it comes to a state's role in funding education equitably. This places unreasonable pressure on property taxpayers, and it results in an unjust education system that creates cycles of poverty and robs whole communities of economic opportunity. It is time to fix our education funding system once and for all, so that each student in Illinois can attend a public school with adequate funding. Our Constitution expects it of us. It's a moral imperative, and if we don't do it, we won't be competitive. Now, this list of changes isn't comprehensive, and by itself it won't solve all our problems, but it's a start. So the next time you hear someone ask, why does Illinois have record-breaking problems? You can point to these exceptional policies as root causes and as opportunities to draft solutions. That's plenty for this video. You can see more at roadbackillinois.com. In the next video, we'll take on corruption, talk about playing with fire. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your feedback and ideas. Thanks for watching.